Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay, so where would you like to start?
Directly with my heart today, because it's this weird kind of good, because I know exactly in the heart center there's a shit ton of grief, sorrow, and let's say related emotions that are trapped is a sort of a mean way of calling it, but basically they are being held in there for the last few days to make sure I don't get overwhelmed in the current incredibly insanely busy situation on all sorts of fronts.
Okay, so it feels kind of pent up,
exactly, it's pent up in there, and it's it's to protect me from overwhelm.
Mm-hmm. All right.
In the meditation, I tried to feel in there further, and always a voice came up that was don't go there, you're gonna die, you're gonna be overwhelmed, and it was constant repeat of don't go there.
Okay. You also mentioned being busy on all fronts.
Oh yeah, because on the one hand, I'm not busy, but let's call it being occupied. Because on the one hand, work, and then family, then personally, then realizing how, in the end, as it's as within, so without. Basically, it then again being all me and so on. How should I put it? Parts are juggling life on all sorts of fronts. Yeah, because with work, for example, I realized that because in the end, I have a déjà vu currently of a project crashing, and before IFS, how to put it? Before IFS, I was always part of projects where that crashed, and I actually, I always ended up as the savior of the project because I was never in the responsible position. I was the one. How should I put it? I was a junior project manager on those projects before IFS, and I came then in basically to save the day, and actually not exactly before IFS. I had one project myself before IFS, and basically, because of course there's always multiple people involved when something fucks up, no one is at fault alone. But from my company's side, of course, let's say I'm the one at fault or the one responsible. And at the first time, that was before IFS, but I was unaware of my responsibilities in the project. It didn't really fail, but it crashed.
Okay.
If you ever worked with a marketing agency or any kind of digital agency, you'll probably know what I mean. It's like a project in the end sort of working out, but not as it originally should have been and not as smoothly as it even could have remotely. Okay. And now with this second project where I was in charge again from my company side, and I should put it in the end, I realized there's a part in me that really enjoys these situations when everything around me crashes, because on the one hand, it's for this part like going to war. It's like a challenge. It's like a lot of fighting. On the other hand, there's also being a hero, stepping in,
right.
And so basically what I then began to understand over the course of the last week or even almost 2 weeks is that unconsciously I led up to it, this project going this way. So I see my responsibility because these parts I'm enjoying it this way. And then there's also in regards to family, because I think I wrote you around Christmas for if we can have this conversation, because basically with always having repressed everything, I couldn't accept the reality of my parents' lives, and that being basically for as sad or perhaps mean it's gonna sound, that my parents really live pathetic lives. I don't have a nicer way to say it, and basically all the emotional, let's say, issues that I'm dealing with and that started to get so much better since I started connecting through IFS with myself and through the conversations with you, basically are modeled after them, after their lives, after the way they lived life when I grew up.
Yes.
And still keep living, because basically I saw both my parents living out in those short days I've been with them around Christmas, living out all of my issues. Literally all of them. Interestingly, I don't know if it's now because of IFS or if it's always been that way, I can't tell. Interestingly, they live them out like in a much worse way than I do. So that's something a part of me is proud of, that in the end, I'm handling my life already better than my parents, but it was completely heartbreaking to see them do that, because they're in the end for how should I put it, as fucked up as let's say all of our lives are, because in the end they're great, incredibly kind, sweet people, and of course I love them. So it's really so incredibly heartbreaking, and that makes me notice that there's a lot of repressed anger around that subject as well. Because but interestingly, I gotta say, with that anger, maybe that's because of these parts that keep me small. Like, of course, it's about the relation to me, but it's more about how should I put it? It's primarily about them, because after all, as kids, well, they do get raised, but it's more of more of doing as the parents did. So basically, having seen the lives and so on, it's more like them just not living up to it, or to what their lives could be, would be. I don't know. Basically, it's just like basically them making their own lives miserable. That's the best way to phrase it.
Okay. I'm taking notes. I've got a lot of notes. I hear a lot of parts.
I bet. Yeah. Oh, and in regards to this grief in the heart that we started
Yes.
in the beginning,
Yes.
I think because I tried to connect already, but with this work stress crashing, I didn't have as much time as usual for my IFS work. I think that's the part that's in general trying to make sure I don't get overwhelmed emotionally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And perhaps a positive note, I did notice the last 2 days that for the first time in my life, I began to, well, basically a part came up that showed me forgiveness for myself. Suddenly, for the first time in my life, I began to forgive myself for the work-related stuff.
Yeah, that came up in one of our first conversations, I think, didn't it? The idea of forgiveness and that.
The idea, yeah, but that I couldn't do it at all.
Right. Okay. So, is there one of these parts that you think we should attend to first?
It's I've been feeling into my body. It's been seems like this around in the heart center that's really heavy. So it's been directing me away from the heart center, but still, let's say a point on the bottom left of the heart, and that being around the anger and grief about my parents. As I for the first time fully witnessed their reality around Christmas.
Yes. Okay.
Because that was, how should I put it? I stay with it for, how should I put it? I noticed I was blended all the time because the pain was massive to finally see the relative for as it is. But I mean, well, obviously I was blended because otherwise I wouldn't really have felt pain about it. But in the end, but I could witness it. So basically, I wasn't like fully taken over by parts. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. But you are noticing still anger and grief in that area around your heart. Yes. Does it feel like two separate parts, anger and grief?
A part that stepped in that's about the fear of my own anger. It's making the whole thing a bit blurry now, so I can't really tell right now if it's separate.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to negotiate with this fear part to step back. It seems like it's the same part.
Okay. Does that mean that fear of anger part stepped back?
Exactly, yeah.
Great. Okay. And is that also the fear of being overwhelmed or the concern about being overwhelmed by this part? Have you checked in with that?
I'm doing so right now. No, that's a separate one, because the overwhelm, how should I put it? That part has a lot of confidence with it and a lot of calmness. Like the fear parts always bring up tension, but at least in conversation, when I connect to them, they bring up incredible tension. But this part that's protecting me from overwhelm, the energy it has could be best described, let's say, like a loving father.
All right. So it trusts you to go and do this work now and get to know this part, the angry, grieving part.
Yeah, it does.
Great. Okay. And how are you feeling now towards that angry, grieving part in your heart?
I myself, let's put melodramatically spoken, I just wanna hug it, but it has, let's say, this response we already had in the past with parts when I couldn't really pay them the attention they needed, that understandably they're also angry at me when I try to connect to them, as I didn't connect to them sooner.
Right. Yes. Let me make sure I understand. I understand that what you just said about a part being angry that it wasn't connected with sooner. And before that, you said something else.
I said, melodramatically speaking, I just want to hug it.
Okay.
Because
yes,
it's not pity, but it's feeling sorry in terms of, being sorry that I couldn't be there for it sooner.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like you and these parts have some grief or
absolutely
frustration around that. Yeah. Can you show them that? Can you communicate that you're in the same boat there?
It makes me notice that there also comes up that I how should I put it? I don't wanna, well, to put it completely open, honestly, when I communicate to it that I'm in the same boat, from the decades learned being a victim comes up, because I wanted to automatically blame these parts that make me scared of the anger. But then I noticed I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to put fault on them, but it also, how should I put it, hurts to, let's say, put fault at this for me. I don't want to judge myself. I don't want to judge them.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a concern about kind of who's at fault.
Yeah, but I also noticed that I don't want to, that I don't want to judge anyone either, because of hating being judged and judging already a lot by now.
Yeah. Okay. Concerns around, if you're pointing the finger at other parts that kept you away versus taking that on and saying it's my fault.
Exactly.
And having that judgment. Yeah. And is that resolving in you, or I can ask questions about it, but I'm wondering if you're...
It's not really resolving, no.
Okay.
Because that also goes hand in hand with the, to some extent, with the part that's afraid of taking responsibility.
Right. Okay.
But this just made me realize that I don't feel it in my body. Like this is a complete, let's say, rational thing. I just realized that basically, at least the way I understand rationally, the difference between responsibility and fault is like how you judge it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I understand what you mean about that all being kind of a rational, point.
Because let's put it. Yeah, I literally felt this only in my head, like this didn't go down to my heart, unfortunately, just yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder if also, well, and maybe this is in the same vein, but the idea of finding fault at all, I wonder if that may be kind of a part saying, well, who's to blame here? And perhaps it's would feel nice, that part wants to find the bad guy, and maybe it's more difficult, or this part doesn't want to allow you and these other parts to just be in a place of not identifying that, not finding fault. Maybe you already said all that using the word judgment.
Not really.
Okay.
I didn't say. I definitely didn't say that, but I noticed that it switched to like the grief switched to being blended with more like it went away from because basically I'm still with these parts, but let's say the subject of the grief went away from my parents and went then now straight to the topic of judgment about how tired we all are of judging and being judged.
Right.
Like there were really young voices that basically said, "Stop judging me."
Yes. Okay. And is that where you like to focus now, is more on that, the grief around the judgment?
Yeah, let's move to this because this came now intuitively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because with work also these last days I noticed that there's parts that judge really harshly the ones I get blended with at the work, like really harshly. And there's, let's say, disdain, like from those judging parts to those at work, but also those at work have disdain for this judging part.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and what does that part want you to know?
It wants to get out of the self-judgment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could let it know that you...
But it doesn't know how.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You just let it know that you see that difficulty of wanting to get out of the self-judgment, of not knowing how. Is it aware of your presence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You could ask what it would be, what its concern is around if it were less judgmental, if it didn't work so hard in that way.
This part was not the judging part. This is a part that's just really sick and tired of being judged.
Of being judged, okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because my self-judgment always being so incredibly harsh.
Okay.
I'm
So
trying to invite the part that being so judgmental, or at least a part if there's multiple ones.
Yes.
This part that's so sick and tired of it is a really young part of mine. I guess probably the closest to, let's say, my real essence that I get to know so far. Because, I don't know because, but
yeah, how young?
Having been somewhere around 4 years old.
Mm-hmm. So you can let it know that you've seen how other parts have judged it and how hard that's been for it. And I think your intuition is right to look for those parts, those protective parts, or those other parts that have been hard on it, and just hear from them.
Because it always only wanted to be appreciated for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like exile type energy to me. So that's why I'm just continuing to make sure that you have kind of permission from protectors to go there.
I don't feel a block in any body part.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like
Well, if they come up, you know, I know that you are great at responding to parts and noticing them when they come up. So you might just kind of send that message to all of them that if they need to intervene and have something to say, they're welcome to say that.
As you said, that angry supportive part came up. that was like no, just to let this young part have its say, but I'm conversing with this angry part now to step back as well. So if someone needs to come in, this part can.
Right. Okay.
The overwhelm part is, the part that's protecting from overwhelm is fine with it, because I'm very loving with this part that's so tired of judgment.
That's great. Yeah, just stay with it. Let it know you want to get to know it and understand its pain. Is it sharing with you?
Basically, not so much, aside from being appreciated, also that it just always only wants my love as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling it how much I love it.
Yes.
And so it's more like, let's call it a somatic visualization now.
Okay. Yeah. So it's, it is important to witness parts and witness their burdens and in whatever way that they want to show you.
One thing that also came up is because already in the beginning of the month, I noticed that I am getting, for the first time in life, more and more ready to, how should I put it, orient my life towards my heart instead of, let's say, the safe alternatives that my brain provides. And this subject now came up again now that I find love. Interestingly, I wanted to say now, like it came up, so I guess I'm probably blended with a part. I don't really know which one yet, but came up that I begin to find love instead of find love for this incredibly young me that's pretty close, to the truest me.
Yeah, well, if this is a new development in your relationship with this part, then yeah. And I was just saying about, the degree of witnessing is up to the part. So if it has a lot of stories and memories and things it wants to share with you about how it came to be in that state, then it's important to hear that out. And on the other hand, they don't always have that to share. So just keep checking with it that it's shared that with you, and let it know that you're okay just listening in any way that it wants to share. Of course, you don't have to share any of it with me.
Yeah, it's not so much of things being shared. It's really more of a somatic, let's say, thing of love. Like around my heart and my chest, it got a lot warmer. I feel the energy spreading, quite relaxing down my arms.
Okay.
And I guess that's also a good thing from this one podcast I wrote to you about, because I will remember this sensation, like when it comes up during the day, that I know that this part is, coming up during the daytime.
Right. Okay.
And now I notice that the grief and sorrow and so on, basically this really pent up, thick, let's say, energy that's being protected at the center of the heart, now also lessened a lot.
Great. Okay. Sounds like you're in a great place with this, and that your intuition is spot on. So, I have my usual process that I would go through when I encounter exiles, but I don't want to. We can do that if it feels right for you, and if not, do whatever's working for you. I can kind of remind you of, or just let you know where I would go next.
Sure. Please let me know.
So if this part is trusting you, then my usual next step is to ask it if it feels like it's stuck in a place in time. And if so, for you to go back into that place in time and be with it in the way that it needed somebody back then.
With this now, a protector came up. I don't see the protector yet, but I feel it. It's like I'm on the left side of the chest now.
Okay. All right. What's this protector want to share? What does it want you to know?
It's not the let's say the kind part who wants to make sure I don't get overwhelmed. It's a stressed out part because it was like whoa, you can't go there.
Okay. And how do you respond to that?
Curiosity as to, in the end, why not?
Yeah. Great.
this stressed out part, it would agree to join us in going to whatever place and time that would be. It's still stressed out, so I still feel its tension, but it would join in as an observer, so it could be like an eject button if something, let's say, goes wrong.
Okay. Does that feel all right for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so check in with that 4-year-old part. If it feels like it's stuck in a place in time, and if so, you go back into that time and be with it in the way that it needed someone.
It itself couldn't really tell if it's stuck in a place in time, because whenever, how should I put it, in the world of parts, when I do it like in those sessions with you, or when I do it alone, mostly it's, how should I put it, when I get to know parts first, it's like in the dark void type of setting.
Yeah.
Okay. And because it couldn't tell, I suggested, what about if we, let's say, open a portal and see what happens, where we end up? And so I did that, and we went through a few environments, but basically these are devoid of people.
Okay. Yeah, so you might want to just linger on that a little more. Mm-hmm. Ask if there is an environment in which there are people, mm-hmm. Or maybe the pain is from people not being around. I don't know. You could ask a question like, where did it pick up that pain, that burden?
One source of the pain definitely is that my parents just weren't there emotionally.
Yes. And are you okay with that part, sharing that with you?
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah. So again, you can kind of just think about going back into that time and being there for this part emotionally. Or if it feels right, addressing the parents in whatever way feels right for you in the part. or anyone else?
Yeah, that's interesting. Basically, I noticed now with this stressed out part, for example, there's been now, as I noticed, that one source of the pain being that parents weren't there. Suddenly the relationship changed. Like it's more like being with this stressed out part now. So I feel it less, and it's more of a, that's a genuine connection, like a more human connection. Yeah.
Okay.
Like an open connection with that now.
With
like
the stressed out part.
Exactly, that who came along as observer.
Right. Okay.
Who wanted to make sure that, yeah, we're safe.
And turning back to that young part, is there anything that it wants you to do for it or with it back then?
It asked about how about if we play some video games, and then I noticed a much weaker version or a much softer version of self-judgment coming up, but not towards this young part, but towards myself in the present playing games. About games, but not specifically about myself playing, more like games being bad, so to say.
Right. Okay. Yeah, see if you can just get that part to step back.
Mm-hmm.
And if this young part needed someone to sit with it and play video games, then
with this, now a 10-year-old part came in as well.
Okay. What does he want you to know?
He wanted to join in on playing games.
Great.
Because it's a Nintendo 64.
Hell yeah. Does that feel good to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and also with the young, with the 4-year-old.
But I don't know if it, but I had the urge to instantly apologize to the 10-year part that I couldn't do better.
Yeah. You can do that. And is the 4-year-old part okay with all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to stay quiet and you just let me know what's next or if you want any other prompts.
This was now a bit of an absurd moment because with playing with those parts Nintendo 64, from deep down self-hate came up And basically, this self-hating part summoned Shigeru Miyamoto with a machine gun, gunning down those parts playing games. And basically, I snapped my fingers, rewinded the whole thing, and asked the self-hating part to step back. Because this was so fast that I didn't really notice it coming in soon enough.
I love that you're able to rewind it. That's right. You're outside of time right now in the way that you're working with these parts. But you can also thank that self-hating part for, showing itself and giving you that just knowledge of the different parts that come up around these young parts. The young parts feel protected by you.
Yeah, they do. Basically, because the environment they're playing in is like the first apartment I grew up in, and it had a balcony, and so I stepped out to the balcony where this self-hating part, let's say, is waiting. I don't know, waiting, but it was from looking from the outside in, and now I forgot what I wanted to say. But I went to it now.
Yeah. I was asking if the young parts felt protected by you.
Yeah, they do. Like they basically are continuing to play carelessly.
And I know that, initially the 4-year-old part was saying about parents not being there emotionally. Does this feel like it's healing or helping in that regard? Is it being there for that part in an emotional way?
Yeah, that I'm there for with it.
Okay.
Is definitely healing.
Great. Yes.
Oh, I don't know if it's healing, but it feels right. Let's say it feels right.
That's good enough. Yeah. I know when my mom would look down and see us playing video games, she would criticize that we weren't engaging in the way she wanted, in what she thought was emotionally right. So
yeah, for me, in regards to video games, they just let me be, so to say.
Yeah. Just see if there's anything else these parts want. And
I'm trying to connect to the self-hating part on the balcony of the apartment.
Yeah.
This makes me realize something I forgot early in our conversation. I don't know if it's self-hate, but self-destructiveness also plays part in the situation with the project crashing at work. I just remembered that because of the conversation with the self-hating part.
Yeah. Have you learned what the self-hating part, why it wants to gun these parts down?
Because it was like in the beginning of a conversation that we never should have been that way.
What way?
being happy with ourselves, being us, being our true selves.
Mm-hmm.
But as it always is with when I get to know new parts or new emotions, in the beginning, the outburst, so to say, always is a bit aimlessly until it calms down after the first wave of energy get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And have you learned why it's concerned about these parts being happy or you being happy? How it protects you?
No, but it's actually glad that I started to listen to it. And with this now, because of talking of work earlier, came up another part very strongly from, I don't know if it's deep down, but from outside of that environment, that is incredibly afraid of the go live of the project and then tomorrow. Because basically, work-wise, all hell could break loose.
Okay.
And so this self-hating part was like, because I listened to it, it's like, thank you, and I'm not gonna harm these parts. I'm not gonna harm these parts, but well, basically, it's not going to harm it in these parts because it knows I will get back later, and I should go to this part that's so afraid of tomorrow.
Okay. So, what is your take on all of that?
In the end, all these parts, I mean, they are aware that we're a system. So I asked the 4-year-old and the 10-year-old as well if they would be okay with me coming back again and going to the part that's so afraid of tomorrow. And they agreed on it.
Okay. Yeah. And you might even, they might already know this, but they can be with each other. And we did talk about being out of time. I mean, in theory, I don't know. I heard this recently that, well, you can be there even when you're not. I don't know how much I subscribe to that, but again, whatever feels right for you in the parts, that's the way to go.
This reminds me, I think we talked about it already a conversation or 2 conversations ago, that there's still very little, let's say, teamwork or, I don't know, let's say proactive connectedness between my parts. So basically that usually parts only are together when I bring them together.
Yes, I have the same experience.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
Did that not really change for you over time with IFS?
I don't consider that a goal to get parts to work together. That's not really within my definition of self-led. I picture a hub and spoke where the self is the center and essentially, and the parts can communicate directly with it. And I don't have any agenda around getting them to work with each other. I expect them to have radical differences, and just like I wouldn't expect 10-year-old playing video games to want to hang out with the grandpa or whatever. Do old boring stuff. I don't think of it that way. I think about my relationship with each of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be a big relief to just say, you all don't have to get along. If I'm with the 4-year-old, I'm with the 10-year-old, again, you can offer, maybe they do want to be together. That's fine. But it's a way to mediate between parts. So I just want to make sure that if you are stepping away from the young parts, that it feels complete. It feels like, just make sure that there's nothing else that they need or want, or see if they have any other requests.
Basically, they were like, it's definitely not complete yet, but we know you will come back, so it's good for now.
Awesome. Okay.
And this, how should I put it, also one of those things in this, let's say, the current weird good overall, that I do get to hear from the parts more often that they trust me, like from separate parts.
Yeah.
Which I never did before.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that they're trusting you more and more. That's really awesome. That means it's working. That's IFS working. Yep. Okay. Well, do you want to talk with me more about this next part, or should we call it a day? And
if you have time, it would be great if we can get to this part, if you have the time.
I do.
Then, let's try to go to this part.
Okay. So this had to do with the work thing tomorrow and self-destruction.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, basically afraid of all hell breaking loose.
Yes, and what would that look like? What would be so bad about that?
Emotionally dying, disappointing myself, disappointing my boss, disappointing our customers.
Okay.
And I do notice that but it's not the part that's afraid of tomorrow. That was another part in the distance that's blaming my people pleasing and not just to one hand people pleasing, but on the other hand they're making myself small. But I don't know what the blaming part right now is.
Okay. I might have lost the thread a little bit, but if you're on it, then go for it.
Yeah, I do notice, I should put it, I do begin to notice a little bit of a cognitive decline, as in that it's starting to get a bit exhausting after it already having been like an hour or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm finding that in myself. And so, while I do have the time, I don't know that I've run out of page on my paper here. So again, I'm happy to stay in the call. I'm definitely having a little more trouble following as closely.
I guess let's call it a day for now, because with these parts in chaos, it's getting a bit, well, it's not emotionally overwhelming, but yeah, it's getting a bit cognitively overwhelming right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope I have you on my calendar coming up soon. I'd like to follow up on all of this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too. I did. When I wrote you for this appointment, I sent it because the next ones that were free only were in like the third week of, starting the third week of January. That's why.
Okay. If you'd like to look for something closer in time, we can do that.
That would be amazing.
Okay.
Because this project being gonna be ongoing the next I guess probably still 2 weeks, because the go live being tomorrow, but it's being a fuck up that needs to be worked on afterwards. That's probably gonna take 2 more weeks. So I don't know, maybe if next week there would be an option, it'd be amazing.
Okay, I'll look for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, and
I have to thank
congratulations on all of your progress, all of your creativity, and I really appreciate. I'm able to relax when I can trust in the way that you do the work, but I also feel like I can trust in, when I say I'm out of paper or whatever, like it's nice to be able to just talk with you that way and trust that you'll handle that. So thank you.
That's very kind. I have to thank you.
Cool. All right. I'll be in touch.
Perfect. Have a nice day and Happy New Year.
Oh, you too.
Take care. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.